All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Rage Inc. It has been a long time since I posted a video, but me and my brother, who I have here with me, Bernie Lofton, uh, we're gonna start posting videos together. We've been wanting to put out some videos for a long time, but just due to some professional and personal things that I've had going on, we haven't done anything, or I haven't put any videos out. And so now we've decided we're going to start putting some videos out. And with the COVID-19 pandemic, it's kind of almost worked out for us to do this because we both have some time. I'm working from home, so is Bernie. And so now we're going to start trying to put some videos out there in keeping with the traditions of Rage Inc. Put out some good workout videos for y'all, some motivation. So, because a lot of us are having to work at home with the gyms being closed and whatnot. So hopefully we can keep y'all motivated to keep getting jacked and juicy out there. But anyway, so again, my name is Justin Lofton. My brother Bernie Lofton, and I'm gonna pass it off to him. We're gonna kind of ask each other some basic questions so y'all can get a little bit more knowledge and get a little more comfortable with who we are, and then we'll go from there. So, Bernie, go ahead.
All right, sir. So, Mr. Lofton over there. The first question I got for you is, what do you do for a living?
Yeah. So, excellent question, Mr. Lofton. So I am in the United States Marine Corps. I have been for about 8 years now, and I pretty much do whatever they need me to do.
Excellent, excellent. All right, what types of training have you done?
So I started. I've been outside running about, playing basketball, football, whatever sports we could get our whole hands on as kids. But I started playing basketball and football when I was in high school. So when I turned 14, tried out for the football basketball team and got on varsity on both. And so a little bit of football experience my freshman and sophomore year, and then basketball all 4 years of high school. And then once I joined the Marine Corps, I that probably the end of my senior year. I'd always been real skinny. I was about 6'3", 165 pounds. And the end of my senior year, I started lifting weights and getting more into that side of things. Joined the Marine Corps. I was about 190 pounds. Um, and then ever since then, I've, whatever the Marine Corps require me to do, whatever PT, physical fitness tests and stuff like that. And then since then, I started weightlifting. So I've been weightlifting on and off for about eight years or so. I've competed in some amateur powerlifting. I've been fairly successful at that. I've done worked out, doing some physique and whatnot, and I've been successful at that. I've just never had an opportunity to compete, and I've always tried to maintain an athletic build, and being able to run, and if I want to get out back out on the basketball court or anything like that. So yeah, it's pretty basic, but I've dabbled in a few different things, and a little bit of martial arts here and there and stuff like that.
Fantastic. So, how did you get started? What age and what piqued your interest in being physically active and pursuing training?
So, like I said, I think being, physically active throughout, my childhood and on into my teenage years, I found sports, fun and whatnot. And then I think, when I was able to play basketball and football, obviously there was that drive to be better at whatever position I was playing, or to be a better all around basketball or football player. And then, once I realized, I was going to join the Marine Corps, I started lifting weights and getting more into that because, there was more of a strength side that I didn't have I didn't have when I played basketball. So, I had to start at least doing pull-ups and push-ups and things like that. And then, once you kind of see those results and you get a little more muscular and whatnot, it just kind of drives you. And that's kind of what's driven me to the next level, is just to be a better all around athlete and to be stronger and more fit all around.
Fantastic. What are your fitness goals right now?
So right now, I've kind of actually shifted my fitness goals with the whole, I'm not really lifting weights or anything right now. So, I'm going to start, I've never been a good runner. I've been good enough to get by, I guess, so to speak. So I'm going to start working on running, and just getting in better, cardio shape in general. And then also, I'm probably going to start working on, maybe getting in a little bit, aesthetically pleasing to myself.
Fantastic. What are your accomplishments? What are, in the fitness journey, what do you think are your biggest accomplishments so far?
I think a big thing for me was I was, when I started in high school, like I said, I was a real long, lanky kid. There wasn't a lot of I didn't have a lot of muscle endurance, if you will, or anything like that, besides running up and down a basketball court. So I would say, I did a lot of plyometrics in high school, and just being able to dunk a basketball and stuff was, a big deal to me. And then moving on past that, I think a few years ago, probably about 4 years ago now, I got asked out of the blue if I wanted to compete in a amateur powerlifting competition, and I hadn't been training or anything for that, but just the style of training I'd been doing, I went and competed and was pretty successful. I won the competition, and then just I would say just overall, I haven't competed a lot, but anything that I've wanted to go and attempt to do, I've been successful at. And then for myself, a big thing is just keeping myself looking good and being strong and whatnot. Those are kind of the big successes for me. And then also, I'm not a certified personal trainer or anything, but I've been able to help a lot of people that struggled in different areas. That's a big successor for me as well.
Fantastic. So, what has been your biggest setback, and how did you overcome it?
I think the biggest setbacks for myself, I mean, I've had some pretty, I wouldn't say minor, they're not really major injuries, some back injuries and stuff, that has set me back. And I think the biggest thing is I love lifting weights, and, your back, obviously, if your back goes out, you're not going to be able to do any kind of weightlifting. So, that was kind of tough for me, kind of mentally, put me in a tough spot. But, I went to physical therapy, and, I trained myself to get back to the point where, I could put 405 back on the squat bar and squat it and deadlift 500 pounds and all that kind of stuff again. So, I think it's just a mental thing. The physical and mental definitely go hand in hand. So for me, it was just, that was a huge thing to overcome, was the fact that, for several months I wasn't able to deadlift or squat or anything. And then to get back into it and just regain that confidence and whatnot.
Fantastic, man. That's all I got.
All right. Excellent. All right. So we'll move on to you. So you've been, for everybody out there, there's a 12-year age gap between myself and Bernie. And so, he's got quite a few years on me as far as training goes and whatnot, and a lot more experience. So, this may take a little bit more time than with mine, but just kind of give us a brief history of, of your training background and how you got to where you are today.
So, I guess it all started at about 8 years old, man. I started running every day, doing push-ups, pull-ups, and crunches. Okay. Our dad was military, and I remember him doing push-ups. So and I remember when he used to do push-ups, and I'd stand on his shoulders. As I got a little bigger, I wanted to do push-ups, so he would make me do military regulation push-ups. And by the time, I'd gotten to around 12 years old, I could do quite a few push-ups, and I liked that. And it was interesting to me. The same thing with playing sports, being very physically active. Was unable to sit still, so I'd go run every morning before school. I ran a lot of mornings before school and push-ups and stuff, and that would kind of help me stay focused during school. Played some sports in that. And then once I got out of high school, man, I always wanted to do martial arts. So I started training in Jabco Muay Thai, which was a school and up here in Northwest Louisiana. So I trained about 15 years under Martial Arts Hall of Famer Philip Craft, and competed in Muay Thai. And then I got my through the World Muay Thai Association, I became a full-fledged instructor. And along the way, I've trained in several other martial arts. That's been the biggest part of my training. I've trained in Isshinryu Karate. I've belted a few times. I've trained in gi and no-gi jiu-jitsu. I got to train Kali Eskrima for about 6 months. I trained with a few boxers, and one of them I actually got to work with a few times. He boxed for the Air Force and was their champion. I had to train with Braveheart Strength System for a while with Coach John Taberley, who was a fantastic powerlifter and strongman, competed in the Highland Games. Just along the way, I got to train with some bodybuilders. I've gotten to train. I got to work with high school and college athletes. In fact, one of my athletes is playing college football right now. And one of my athletes is one of the fastest 800-meter runners at the school where he attends. So it's just been a pretty wide conglomeration of training with a lot of different people, but mostly martial arts, man. I've done more martial arts than about anything. Martial arts and powerlifting was the staples of my training.
Okay, and that's interesting because so for those of you that don't know Bernie, which is probably most of you, Bernie is he's a certified personal trainer, and you've been training for what, 8 years now? 9 years you've been training people?
I've been certified about 9 years, man.
Okay, so
but I've been training martial arts. I was training in a martial arts school. I've probably been doing that about 12 or 13 years.
Okay. So when Bernie says, not only has he trained with these people, but he's also trained some of these people who are now collegiate level athletes and whatnot. And, some of them compete at other sports and whatnot. So awesome. All right. So my next question, you kind of already went over it. I was just going to ask, what are some of your, training experience? What training experience do you have? But you kind of already went over that, timelines and whatnot. So kind of covered both those questions with your last one. So what certifications do you actually have as a personal trainer?
So I am certified through the National Council of Strength and Fitness, and I have my license certification through them. I'm a LHSA certified coach for Louisiana here. I have I'm a full-fledged instructor in the World Muay Thai Association. And I think that's it, man. That's all I can think of.
Awesome. So, with me, you talked a little bit about what my goals are with training, and, I think we can agree that we kind of have a little bit different, we're a little bit different with what kind of our goals are and stuff. But what are your, when you get somebody and you start training them, obviously they're going to have their goals of what they want to do and stuff, but what's kind of your goals for that individual and whatnot when you start training somebody?
So I definitely want to help them get better at whatever it may be they want to do, whether it's running, lifting, and whatever else. But my main goal is to keep them safe and healthy, and also to make sure that they're not just working out for, I know that a lot of times they're working out for aesthetic reasons or something like that, but to help instill a practice of overall healthy behavior to, help them have longevity in life, have a very, a healthy, fruitful life, productive life. So that's always really my number one goal. But, you do have to, the trade-off side is that I do have to try to help you get what you want out of it too, which a lot of times is either aesthetics or performance based. And my biggest number one thing has been to keep my clients safe. And so far to this date, there have been very, very few injuries or anything related to training. I mean, I've had clients that have gotten injured, but they've gotten injured, out working in the yard, step in a hole, twist their ankle, something like that. And that's been one of my primary concerns, man, is that I bring good training techniques and good lifestyle habits and encourage those in my clients.
Okay, awesome. All right, so kind of the last question I have here is, and you talked about it a little bit with the first question. What would you say is your favorite style of training, or even what are you the best at? What have you been the most successful at in your career? What style of training?
Do you mean for myself or training other people?
For yourself, what would you
Okay.
consider to be the most successful at in your own style of training?
Man, my natural attributes and things that I've always done well in more explosive type movements and explosive type sports. Long distance running, I've ran over 8 miles consecutively before, but I've never been really that good at that. But, more anaerobic style things, definitely, man, I think that I was built well for powerlifting. Powerlifting went well with me. And then, I think the martial arts, man, I think striking and grappling, those two sports both went well with my makeup. So I'd say more anaerobic nature things and definitely strength-based or muscle endurance things and a lot less of like long range endurance stuff.
Yeah.
Has been my thing.
So that kind of answers my, my follow up to that was just going to be, what would you consider to be your worst attribute with training? So the long distance
Definitely,
running. So
man, I've done well at like even sprinting. I could dunk a basketball in high school. And I was just right at 6 foot tall. So I wasn't super tall. I could dunk a basketball. I could jump pretty high. Short 40 or 60-yard sprints, man. I could run pretty fast. Things like that. Doing stuff like bear crawls for short distances and stuff. But running anything over half a mile, I just never really had great mechanics and had to really work at that.
yeah. All right. So, and, so I think this has been good because the purpose of this is, we don't want to just come on here onto these videos and start giving you advice and tips or, telling you how to do things and showing you videos, because we're going to put some videos out of some good workouts you can do at home for, and we'll try to switch it up instead of just making it maybe calisthenics or plyometrics or something. We might, Bernie, you have quite a bit of training, fight training and stuff. So we can throw in some good things to do at home in if case, people are interested in maybe doing some more martial arts type training, which in my opinion is one of the best types of cardiovascular training you can do. So, we wanted to tell y'all a little bit about ourselves, and in future videos, you'll learn more about us. But just to kind of get it out there, hey, these are kind of our goals in life. This is what we've done, where we've been. And, the great thing about this is, both of us have very different experiences in life, with the types of training we've done. We've both done powerlifting. We've both done some MMA. We've both done a little bit of bodybuilding and stuff like that. but Bernie has done a lot more of the MMA style training. You know, I've had to do, unfortunately, a lot more of the long distance cardio style training and whatnot, you know, and I've a lot of the MMA training I've gotten has been in the military. I have had some mixed martial arts training prior to that, and you know, random times during I'll get to train with certain people, but you know, the training that I've gotten has been very much geared towards a military person and in different scenarios than getting in the ring with somebody, or, you know, even just being out on the street or something. So, you know, we just want to give you a little background. The next thing we want to talk about briefly is just kind of where we want to go with these videos. Like I said earlier, these videos, you know, they're here to motivate the viewer and to also you know, give y'all ideas of different things y'all can do. And this isn't just something we want to do during this time where we're stuck at home. You know, we following that, you know, this is a good base for us because we can start, you know, getting some stuff out there. And then once we actually get to the point where, you know, everything's kind of hopefully gone back to normal a little bit, or at least we can get back to the gym, you know, maybe Bernie can put some videos on there of things that he's doing with his clients or things he's doing for himself. I can put some videos on there of how I'm training and some of the things I'm doing, and we can really just start to get things out there. And one of the things I wanted to mention is that Bernie is you know, he's already started a group on Facebook. You know, that it's basically he's putting out some beginner level challenges right now, and slowly but surely adding to those challenges to give people, you know, that maybe they haven't ever worked out before, and they're like, hey, I'm home by myself with nothing to do. I'm going to start working out. So now they have, you know, something to kind of get themselves started with and whatnot. So, you know, that's kind of where we want to go. The videos are going to vary. They're not going to be this. This is probably a one-time deal where we sit down and the video is just this tame. You know, in the future, you know, the videos could be, we could be talking about, you know, different things to stay disciplined and motivated and everything, or it could just be straight workouts. You know, so um, we hope that, you know, y'all will subscribe and like the videos and stick around, and that we can help you guys out. Bernie, what are some of your comments and stuff you'd like to get out there?
So, man, you know, I think you've done a great job, fantastic. And but one of the things that I would like to say is that you know, the biggest thing that any of my interactions with people when it comes to fitness and all that is to not overload yourself, not take on too much for you. Start with the basics, and always technique first. I've been training now, so I've been training for about 30 years now, and I'm telling you, I've seen it over and over. If you will just stick to the basics, stick master techniques. If you don't know the techniques, find somebody to help you. That's how I've learned most of what that I know, is by going and training with people that were, you know, very high level at what they did and learning from them. Stick to those basic techniques and master them before you progress on. Stay safe. You'll get more results that way, and you'll have more longevity in the gym.
All right, yeah. So anyway, that's going to conclude our brief video here. So, you know, I hope that, you know, we can get some viewers and stuff, and you'll stick around for these videos because, you know, I can promise you that they're going to get better over time. Right now we're just working with our laptops, you know, and stuff, and just making the videos how we can. But over time they're going to get better. There's going to be better content. It's, you know, they're going to get really interesting. You know, it's going to be a lot of fun for us, and we hope it'll be a, you know, a good time for you as well. So anyway, thanks for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed this video, and we look forward to making more in the future.